welcome back everybody. This is season 3, episode 10. I'm Gaston Rossato.
I'm Rossato.
And we want to give everybody, before we start this car, a special thanks for your support, for hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, please do so. We're trying to get to 10,000. That's our next benchmark. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. This week we have the icon of the hot hatches of the 80s.
The OG hot hatch.
This is a Renault 5 Turbo 2.
That's right. Our first experience with one of these.
Yes.
It's gonna be fun, guys. Join us. Let's go for a drive.
Let's get it.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna look at this thing and not have any clue what it is, but that doesn't matter, because the guy that does see it and knows what it is, he's like mind blown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this car looks so civilized with the color combination that it has. This pearl white with these cloth tan seats. Yeah. You know, it just looks very. Don't look at me, nothing going on around here.
Yeah, that's true, but those big fat flares in the back also.
That kind of throws it off a little bit, yeah. But I think the early cars, like the Series 1 cars, they came red and blue. And
that's the only two colors that came in.
Oh, the only two?
Yeah, so that's actually the Renault Turbo. This is a Turbo 2, but they refer to that first Turbo as a Turbo 1, even though it's not called a Turbo 1, they just refer to it as a Turbo 1.
Right, yeah, they give you a reference.
Exactly. So the Turbo 1, this did come in the red and blue color. The interior was all red and blue, a little more aggressive bucket seats, and the dash was a little more race inspired. And there's some other differences that we'll talk about later on in the walkthrough. So this car is fuel injected, is not a carbureted.
It's a fuel injected car,
right?
Correct.
So the Alpine was a carbureted car. So the Renault 5, the standard version, obviously has the back seats. It has the engine up front, no turbo, producing about 55 horsepower. From that Renault 5 came the Renault 5 Alpine version, which is the 1.4 liter, a little more horsepower, and then this car was born from there. What they did was they slapped on a Garrett T3 turbo to that 1.4 liter. Engine's producing about 160 horsepower.
That's a lot of fun power.
That's a lot of power.
For a car this size,
right.
this weight.
All right, so let's give our viewers a little walk around on this car and some more information on it. Let's start off with the production of the turbo. The turbo, including the turbo 1s and 2s, there was about a total of 4,900 built. The turbo 1s, 1,800, and the turbo 2s, there were about 3,900 cars.
Yeah. Which is very low production.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a mass-produced car. I mean,
right.
Some people might say, yeah, it's a lot of cars, but compared to a regular production car, it really isn't.
No,
and again,
less than 5,000 total.
Right, and that's why we're talking about now, and we're seeing it now more than ever, these cars, as far as collectability is concerned, because low productions, you know, historic racing pedigree, homologated, European, never imported here. So us, the Americans, we love stuff that we couldn't get our hands on. And the car is awesome. It's little, it's compact, it's mean. It's like
it's known as the what was this series of cars called? They were called the Super Minis.
The Super Mini.
So they're a little bit bigger than a Mini Cooper, but they were smaller than the compact car.
Compact car, yeah.
So
that was the term they used back then. Yeah, the right. Super Mini. You know, this car has the wide hips, telling you that we got something going on here. Obviously meant to divert, you know, ram air into the engine, since it's now in the back, and the turbo. Not very often you see such a sporty car and so boxy at the same time.
It's very true, and I think it's one of the things that capture your attention on this car.
And this is a Bertone design.
One of the things that I love is the handle to the car. It's just a button. At first, you're kind of like, well, how do I open this? But it gives you enough room to actually grab the door.
Right, usually the actual door is levered by pressing the button and you open it right up.
Which is really cool.
I love this thing, simplistic wheels. These are staggered. You got a much larger tire in the back than you do in the front.
And the color, these are the colors that you don't get in the turbo, the first turbo 1s. Because like we mentioned, they were only blue and red.
Right.
So the turbo 2s is when you find the different color variations that they make. Now, what is something else that's different that you find in the turbos 2 that you won't find in turbo 1?
A lot of the panels are just sheet metal versus aluminum.
Aluminum. So it's a heavier car, same power, same engine, but it is a little bit of a heavier car because it's sheet metal versus the aluminum.
Right.
But the difference isn't really that big. Back in the day, the MSRP, this was a much cheaper car than the turbo 1s, but the performance was still there. Obviously, the turbo 1 is going to be more
valuable
because less production and it's a lighter weight car.
Right, it's a little more rare. Anything has the scarcity gives it the extra value, not because it was a much higher performing car, really.
Exactly. And the reverse lights, check out these reverse lights.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like, where do we put it? And they slapped it on right there. But it works.
It does.
Yeah, the boxy look, it works. It's
just
perfect.
so fat, it's just perfect.
We need an Allen key that will pop off these caps, allowing us to go ahead and show the engine, and obviously a mechanic to work on the engine. So that pops off, here you go. Pop that off, this comes down.
Got a heat shield there.
And you can tell how much it shields because the heat comes at you right away.
Feel that thing coming right.
And you gotta be careful because this might be hot. Lift this up, and out.
Got this out.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta turn it over. You gotta turn it long ways. There you go. And grab it by the edge here so you don't burn yourself. And let's pull that out, leave it here. So obviously putting the engine in the back is gonna require some changes to the car. And was it 10 inches that the car was expanded?
Yeah.
To make it a little bit longer so that the transmission and engine can fit in the back. And one of the other big changes of the car that they needed to change was the suspension. It had the torsion bar springs, but it didn't allow the space for the engine to fit in the back. So they went ahead and switched it to the double wishbone with coilover springs.
Which made it a better handling car and gave it the space it needed for the adaptation. That wraps up episode 10 of season 3. What a blast, what a fun car to drive, to hear a little turbo spiel while you're driving it. Honestly, I'm really happy I got to check this one off my list. That's right. Well, for the channel too, because these historic cars deserve a spot, so we're trying to get all of them, and we appreciate you guys for watching this. We have tons of content coming at you, so please be sure to hit subscribe so you can be a part of that too. We're on our way to 10,000 subscribers.
That's right.
Help us get there.
Please.
We thank you for watching. We had a blast today driving around in the city of Miami Springs. We want to mention that this is in fact a 37,000 mile all original example. Beautiful, beautiful car, and it is in fact available for sale. So if anyone is interested, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. I'm Gaston Rossato.
I'm Rossato. We'll see you next week. Peace
Later.
out.